What's going on, guys? So last Saturday, I hosted the very first webinar for guys with long hair. Absolutely fantastic experience. Everyone came with some really great insights, well attended, and the panel was absolutely awesome. So relax, sit back, and enjoy the webinar.
What is going on, guys? How are we all doing? I am literally now just scrolling through the top of my screen, and I am seeing a lot of really good hair. I'm looking at myself and I'm feeling a little bit inadequate. My 3 years of hair growth is actually paling a little bit in comparison next to some of you guys.
You're right.
And I'm one of the main guys that's leading the talk. So suddenly I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck am I doing here? But never mind. I'm gonna level. I love being a guy with long hair. And I know that all of you guys on this call love being guys with long hair as well. So let's just, before we start, I'll just do a little run through as to how today's gonna play out. So this is the Living Your Best Life as a Guy with Long Hair webinar. So we're going to kick off with the discussion just around why having long hair is awesome. Then we're going to take a look at life lessons, give you guys some motivation, and talk a little bit about our learnings about growing our hair along the way. Then we're going to segue into a conversation based around the world's perception of long hair. And then lastly, we'll round off with a conversation just around dating and long hair. And then there'll be a Q&A at the end as well, which will give everybody a chance just to fire some questions at us. But before we do that, as I'm sure you guys have seen, we have got an absolutely awesome panel, all with really, really good hair as well. So I'm just going to ask everyone on the panel just to introduce themselves, just to spend 30 seconds, 10 seconds, however long, just talking a little bit about who they are and what they're going to bring to this call. So I'm going to go to you first, Scott, because you're the person that I can see top of my screen.
Hi, Scott Smith. This is my first time ever growing my hair long. And better late than never, I guess, right? And I had no idea all the years that I've had hair that it was curly until I was about 6 months into my journey. So it's all new.
Hair is ever surprising, right? You literally never know what you're going to get.
Right?
Man.
Brian, I'll go to you next, as I can see you next to Scott.
Okay, cool. Brian, most everybody around my neck of the woods calls me Old Stray Cat. That's just my nickname. 52 years old, first time growing it out long. It's a surprise to me. I never thought I'd even get to this length, but I'm happy with what I got. If I get some more, hey, that's just a bonus. Loving the long hair, love this group. And yeah, it's a definite confidence builder. Just keep it up, everybody. Y'all got this.
I'm pretty confident your hair will get longer as well. I'm very confident in saying that. Travis, can I go to you next?
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Travis. This is my first time actually growing out my hair. It's been I think about 3 years now, and did it from a buzz cut. I absolutely adore this group and adore Tom and everybody in it. Honestly, I'm just super excited to be here and talk about hair.
Can I just say as well,
awesome.
Travis, look at your 3 years versus my 3 years. This is why I feel inadequate.
Oh, no, your hair is beautiful.
And then, Josh, if I can go to you next.
Hey everyone, my name is Joshua Hubbard. Some of you may know me as the Hella Buff Vegan. I started my hair growth journey back in 2019, about to hit 19 or 20 months. And as you can see, I like to color my hair as well. Just excited to talk about hair and hair and men and hair in society. So really excited to be here. I love the Man Buns Manes group and excited to talk about it.
It was like long hair porn then when you just took it out. Literally, that's hair porn in front of all of us.
That's all I thought about.
I mean, that's what you bring to the call, right?
Sploosh.
Josh is flexing.
It is such a nice color though.
Yeah, it's my stylist. You can definitely get a bad color, and I'm lucky that I got a good stylist that knows how to color it right. And she knows when to tell me no on something.
Right.
And then, Tom, if I can go to you.
Hey guys, so my name's Tom and I'm a little Australian YouTuber all the way down at the bottom of the globe. And this is my second time growing my hair out and I've been growing for 3 months now. And I wanted to put the Man Buns and Manes group together as a place where everybody could not only come and talk about hair, but I don't even have a end goal for it. I don't really know everywhere that it's going. All I know is I wanted to create a place on the internet where everybody could come and feel like they were accepted, whether they had long hair or not. And it's just about enjoying the journey together and feeling the togetherness. And here on this call today, I can bloody feel the togetherness. And I'm very excited that you're all here and turned up. So let's talk.
Do you want to tell everybody what time it is as well, just so people can really see how dedicated you are to that too?
It's 6:11 a.m. for me, but I got up 2 hours ago so I could get to my office and get this pretty shirt on and be here. So more than happy to.
Love that. Love that. Cool. So let's start off with, I think, one of the most important things when it comes to being a guy with long hair, and that's long hair as a form of self-expression. So for me, when I decided I wanted to grow my hair, I had no idea all the things that I was going to open my mind up to. I thought it was literally just going to be a question of short hair, medium hair, a little bit longer, and then suddenly I'd find myself with long hair and life would just change completely from there. What you don't realize, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit too, it is a full-on journey. And it's a full-on journey with challenges, and it's a full-on journey with a lot of positives as well. But I think self-expression has definitely been one of the things that's really underpinned my journey. I've gone from being this shy, quiet guy who doesn't really stand out too much, walks in a room, people maybe turn once or twice, but predominantly most people are like, it's just any other guy, right? Suddenly now I walk in, long hair, tattoos, nose pierced, ear pierced, wearing a turtleneck, and people are like, wow, who's that guy? They may not like it, but I'm walking in and people going, wow, who's that guy? And I think that this is something that I'm sure a lot of you guys will relate to. You've probably gone from just feeling like normal guys to having long hair and feeling like a guy with long hair. And it feels pretty sweet, right? Like it really does feel pretty sweet. So if I could start off just by going to you, Tom, just again, because I can see you on the screen. Do you want to talk a little bit about your experiences with self-expression and long hair?
So, well, just being a YouTube creator, before I even got into hair, I thought I just need a place on the internet where I can express myself. Like I've always been one that I never liked being told what to do, and I've always wanted to do my own thing. And long hair for me has been a way that I can express and project that how do you call it? That feeling of wanting to do and look how I want. I've been able to tie in with the long hair and I don't know, make it part of my identity along the way. It wasn't really part of the plan, but after I started playing around with it and getting a little bit more of an audience, I wanted to delve further and further in. And yeah, I don't know. Now it's just become a natural part of my identity, and it seems to be something that I don't want to let go of. I don't know.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it is exactly like that, isn't it? You don't want to let go of it. You don't know why you don't want to let go of it, but you know you don't want to do it.
Well, and I'm already a creative as well. So now it's kind of like, well, I've got this long hair thing going on, and how can I come up with different video concepts? How can I use all my creativity to merge with that whole concept and get my myself further out there? And it's a challenge. So, and for that, I love it. And not only is it a challenge to insert my creativity into my video work and do that kind of stuff, but working with long hair compared to short hair is a whole other ball game as well. Like keeping up with the maintenance, learning what works for you, learning what your hair type is. Like there's so much that goes into it. So yeah, it's been a really good long ride for me. And my self-expression has come out in my YouTube videos mostly through long hair.
That's awesome. I can definitely relate to the self-expression through YouTube videos as well. Josh, Mr. Hair Porn himself, what are your thoughts on self-expression?
Yeah, so for me, I don't think hair growth ever started as self-expression. I was one of those that I've on multiple occasions tried to grow out my hair and always failed. I get to 6 to 7 months, never feel confident about myself, and I'd end up cutting it off for whatever reason. And this time I successfully got there, and it didn't start as a form of self-expression. It started as seeing someone who I thought I looked cool and was like, oh, that hair is badass. I would love to have that. And so then as it started to grow and started to become its own, I realized I no longer was looking at these photos of these people who inspired me and just realizing that my hair is my own and I can express myself differently through this. And as you said already, Alex, there is something really cool about walking into like a grocery store or just like a restaurant and you realize like, I'm the only guy here with long hair and it feels really cool. Like it's different. Like I feel like there's something that stands out, whether or not you agree with it or you like it, there's still something about it that stands out. And I think it's a great way to express it. And then to the same thing with the creative side of it, doing YouTube just gives you a way to kind of do an outlet and talk about things that you enjoy about something that is completely your own, because through your journey of hair growth, you kind of made it your own.
Yeah, for sure. And Travis, I'm just looking at you now as probably the guy with the longest hair on here. Do you want to talk a little bit about your thoughts on it as well?
So, I definitely relate to a lot of the things that everyone's saying. You know, walking into a room and having people notice you and be like, "Oh my gosh, who's that with the flowing hair?" But for me, it really just boosted my confidence, and I liked wearing a lot of different styles, braiding it, putting in like different, you know, things, berets, things like that. I'm all about the hair accessories, but it's really just given me a lot of confidence, and I love how you can express yourself through so many different hairstyles, and yeah, I just love having long hair. And
I want to second that, actually. Like, you've just triggered my thoughts. Like, wearing so many different styles, when you've got more length to play with, you literally you can switch it up, and you can do the braids, you can do side sweeps, you can do curls, you can do straight, you can do it. Just completely changes the game and gives you a lot more options. Sorry, I just wanted to add that.
Oh, no,
I completely agree.
Yeah, interject at any time, honestly. But it's just, yeah, it just honestly, it made me feel like more of a creative person too, and in the way that I express myself. You know, some days I just feel like wearing it in a bun and just looking like, I don't know, casual or something, or some days I just want to be really elaborate and just do like braids for days. But yeah, the way that you can express yourself with hair is just really incredible.
No, for sure. And what about you, Scott? What are your thoughts?
Scott?
Sorry, I was muted there. I grew up always having short hair. My mom was a single mom with 4 kids, so what was easy for her was like, right, crew cut. And then I was in the military, and I had that haircut. And after I got out of the military, it was easy, so I just stayed with it. I stuck with it for years. And I wish if somebody could invent a time machine, I would go back in time to my younger self when I got out of the military and say, grow your hair, because this is really cool. Like, I had no idea. I really had no idea what I was missing out on all those years. I'll never go back to having a buzz cut again, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I'd started my hair growth journey earlier. So I think we can all relate to that. I think it's one of those things, when you start, you wish you'd started earlier because you want that end result a little bit sooner.
Absolutely.
One of the main... Oh, sorry, you go, Scotty.
I was just going to say, I almost feel like at this point with this sort of realization that we need to like do like active outreach to like reach all the short-haired guys out there and tell them what they're missing out on.
Right.
Yeah. Some sort of intervention or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, no, perfectly said.
The biggest thing that stands out for me, though, Scotty, in the interactions that we've had is you said that the long hair has really given you the okay to go, you know what, I don't care what anyone thinks of me. And that's something that's a little bit more new for you. And that, in terms of self-expression, when you remove that, I don't care what people think of me anymore, suddenly you become more relaxed and you can actually express what's natural to you. And I think we've really seen that with you. And every interaction that I've had with you anyway, I've just noticed that, and I adore it. That's really what this is all about for me, seeing that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think, Tom, you've perfectly moved us on to our next point as well, which is just going to be around some of the lessons.
Hang on, Brian didn't have a go.
Sure, I'll have a go. But I'm sort of kind of agreeing with what you guys saying. And it's like, how do I explain this to make this sense? It's what you said about walking in a room. You're gaining confidence and not really caring what other people think. It's a matter of being a lion. You're a lion, walk into a room because long hair gave you the confidence to do that. You know, that's why you want to grow long hair. And yeah, it makes you special. Damn right it does. You're a lion now. You walk in a room full of hyenas. Damn.
Lions only no sheep. Yeah, no, perfect. Couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. So let's move on a little bit and let's have a little discussion just around some of the life lessons that we've had during the time that we've grown our hair. So I think the pivotal moment for everybody when they're growing their hair, and the moment that probably is the hardest, and we touched on it a little bit as well when we referenced the kind of 6 to 7th month period, and that is the previously discussed awkward phase. That phase where you go from feeling moderately attractive to short hair to suddenly feeling damn right unattractive, and people telling you that you need a haircut, people telling you that there's a problem, people telling you that there's something that you need to change. And I think this is probably the point where we've all tried growing our hair. We've got a little bit closer, someone said something, and then we thought, no, let's take it off. Let's take it off. And it was a phrase, I think you used it, Tom, in one of your really old videos. You referenced long hair as a journey and not as a destination. And I think it couldn't really be better said. And I think it's really powerful also to say as well that when you start, the destination or the end goal as to what you want your hair to look like is never ever going to be what it actually firstly looks like, but also B, it's never going to be what it actually does look like. And I always think of my first experience when I decided to grow my hair, and I just was obsessed with Game of Thrones. My life was about Kit Harington and very little else. So much to the extent that I think I probably referenced his hair probably 10, 15 times a day to virtually anybody that would listen. And it was I almost began to kind of method act my life as the King of the North. And there's that scene, and I think in season 6, where everyone's kind of sitting round, and there's the classic, they call him the King in the North, and everybody's standing. I think when I watched that scene, I almost felt like I was Jon Snow. I think I was in my bedroom at home standing as well, addressing everybody as though I was Jon Snow. And then I always remember it. There was a pivotal moment where I was at a family wedding, and I got there, and my hair could not have been any more Kit Harington or any more Jon Snow than I wanted it to be. And I walked in, and I walked past a group of people, and they were like, "Oh my God, they call him the King in the North." And you think at that moment in time, I'd be emotional, like dreams have come true. I was just kind of like, oh.
They noticed me.
Oh, we've done it now. And I think it's interesting because you think that something's going to change and you think that you're suddenly going to get there. But really, there is no made it point. There is no point when you've got long hair and suddenly everything comes true. It's all just about the journey, and it's all about getting there, and the fact that your hair is never going to be the same every single day. And I've seen that pop up in the chat box as well. Tom, I can see you literally look desperate to come in.
No, I think Kit Harington was a lot of people's inspiration, to be honest. Like when Game of Thrones was on, like everyone was like, I was even like, wow, I'm considering chopping inches off to look like that man. Like I really loved his look. But in terms of long hair being a journey and not a destination, I think there's a few different angles to that. There's like what I pictured in the beginning. I was kind of like, yeah, we'll go something for collarbone. And then when I got there, I kind of went, oh, maybe a bit longer. And then it ended up getting down to my nipples. And then obviously I chopped it all off. But it's funny, at all different stages, there was things that I liked about each part. And even the part when I had my disconnected undercut, growing it out and getting all the negative comments along that journey, I don't know what it was, but I just felt like, how do you call it? Do you call it poking the bear? Like when people get mad about like how your hair looks, it's kind of like, well, I'm just going to do this more. I'm just going to make more content that talks about how cool and not how many fucks I don't give. And then we'll see how that works. And I feel like that attitude the whole way kind of works. Like the more you want to, well, the more I participated in talking about it and going, well, this is what it is, the more confident I felt like I got along the way. And you know, and I noticed like it was a lot of other people were going through the same thing. So I was able to make it relatable too. In terms of journeys, that's like my 2 cents.
I think it's a little bit too, isn't it? It's also about why you're growing your hair in the first place. And if you're growing your hair because you think you want other people to tell you that your hair looks amazing, it's probably the wrong reason. Instead, it should be about how it feels for you and why you want to have that end look. Brian, I heard you just jump in then. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was just agreeing with what you had to say. And it's like, I'm over here laughing at Tom being the rebel. That's basically what it is. You know, you got to add this into the conversation. You know, there's another reason that you grow long hair. You are rebellious. You know, you're rebelling against what all these other knuckleheads are doing. Yeah, and yes, it's a journey, not a destination. That's a fact. It changes so many things about you that you didn't even realize was within yourself. You know, you learn so much about yourself by growing long hair.
We are a group of rebels, right?
Yeah. And I think it's also important that in the journey, as you've kind of said, Tom and Alex and Brian, that you really do not have to care what other people think, because even at a length that you finally get to, so you finally reach your destination and you get there, you're still going to look around at other guys and be like, well, my hair is not as curly as his, or my hair is not as straight as his. Like, this isn't what I wanted. There has to be a part of that journey that you own for yourself. And like we've said, kind of make it your own experience and expression, not what you kind of wanted. So the Kit Harington or the Jason Momoas or the Chris Hemsworths. But so you got to be able to say like, no, this is who I am, and I'm confident with who I am and what my hair looks like. Even if I look at another guy and think like, man, that looks really good. I love that curl.
Right.
Love that curl, but love your hair too for what it is.
Good job. Yeah. Well said, Josh. Well said.
Yeah. Perfectly well said. What about you, Travis?
Oh, I totally was just like in complete admiration. I forgot myself for a second. I love everything you guys are saying, and I agree with all of it. It's hard for me to find something else to verbalize, just because everything you guys said is just on point. Yeah, it really is about the journey. And, you know, I found myself comparing my hair to a lot of people's when it was growing, and I was like, oh, why couldn't I have this kind of hair or that kind of hair? And I really, honestly, the more it started growing and the longer it's gotten, I have to check back at like old photos just to remind myself, hey, I've made this progress. You know, my hair actually looks partly to where I want it to be. And I think it's really just important to not forget that, you know, while we might have our goals, you know, the journey is very important too, because you're in the process of growing out that hair, and you kind of have to check in with yourself too sometimes and say, you know, I've made progress, and not to forget where you came from, I guess.
Good.
Love that.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. Tom, you've got your hand up.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, no, that's the clapping one.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, so it is.
Yeah. No, I think I just wanted to add in as well. Speaking of journeys, I think people jump the ship way too early as well. So they might have something in mind, like Kit Harington, for example, or Jason Momoa, and then they, you know, get to about here and they go, oh, this just looks shit. This is just not going to suit me. But they didn't even get to the final part yet to see what it looks like. And that's one of the things in all my old hair growth videos that I would say was like, make sure you at least get to that goal or that length that you were thinking of, and then make the decision from there, because there's no point judging yourself while it's like half Krusty the Clown and looking like crap. And it doesn't help that other people might be telling you that, but you know, like, it's just important to make sure you get to at least that milestone so you can say you did it and try before you buy, you know?
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing too of that is, if you think of, let's say there's a short haircut you want, you know, you can find a picture on Instagram, Pinterest, no matter what it is, drive to the barber and you can have that haircut done within an hour. If you want long hair and you want a particular type of long hair, you might have to wait a year, 2 years, 3 years, no matter what it is. And it is, yeah, it's a commitment, it's a journey, and it's not even a journey like you can know there or then whether you're going to like the result. You have to have enough belief in yourself, and you have to have enough, I suppose, enough confidence that you'll be able to pull that look off, that you'll be able to rock that look. And it's when you think of how long a commitment it is to get to that point, it's kind of crazy.
Come join Man Buns and Manes.
Yeah, but I think there's a good point to that with the journey though too, because there's something about reaching that destination that you don't have that instant gratification or satisfaction of getting that haircut. Because so you go and you watch a movie or you see a show or you see someone on IG and you're like, oh, I want that hair. There's a lot longer process than 30 minutes to an hour at the barber. And so getting there, like, that's where the journey starts to really come in, is you start to learn things about yourself and learn things about your hair and just how you like to express yourself, the ways you wear it, styles of clothes you wear with it. Like, it becomes more than just, and that's where I was saying, like, it comes from being like an infatuation with the hairstyle or a certain look to realizing like, man, this is kind of part of me now. Like, this is kind of who I am. And even if I do cut it off, there'll always be that great kind of look back to say like, hey, at least I did it once.
I feel like, and this sounds like a massive statement, but I don't actually think it is. And I think everyone on the call will agree. Long hair to a certain extent is almost like a lifestyle. And a little bit like what you were saying just then, Josh, about how you start growing your hair and then you start wearing different clothes and you think of like style with it. It's not just that your hair changes. It's not just the way that you wear your hair changes. It's the whole way you present yourself that changes. And I talk about this a lot on some of my videos. It's you kind of become not quite the best version of you, but you become you as a niche. And what that really does is some people love it. Some people react really well to it. Other people don't. But the change in the lifestyle and the powerful thing comes in the fact that you're presenting yourself in the way that you want to be and people are responding to you in that way. Yeah, Gavin's just said it perfectly in the chat. We become our own unique brands. That's it. We start marketing ourselves in a different way. And I think it's powerful. Like for me, that's been one of the most powerful things. So never mind the journey in terms of what the hair looks like, but it's also the journey in terms of what you learn about yourself in that way. It's also the journey about how your style evolves. It's also the journey about how you interact with people and how they perceive you. Like there's so much to it. And I think we're seeing that a lot in terms of what we're talking about now. And I think we're also seeing that in terms of just everybody's journey. Very few people, when they started off with short hair, finished the same person than when they had long hair, because there's so much that happens in between.
And I would like to add that I think too, that extension of style, the confidence that comes from growing your hair and the way you feel some days where it's like, I really look bad. But whatever, I'm going with it. Like a hat might not fix it. I'm going out. You start to extend that to other things that you may have been uncomfortable with in the past when you kind of fit in. But now that you stand out, you think like, well, hell, my hair looks crazy anyways. I guess I'll wear this crazy shirt that I never would have worn had it not been for that, or whatever it may be. You start to look at things and say, it wasn't that scary going out with hair that I thought looked ridiculous. No one really made any comments. So maybe if I wear this thing that I've always wanted to, but thought maybe it wouldn't fit, or I don't know, everyone will look at me. You start to realize like people don't actually look at you most of the time in a negative way. They actually you kind of become the people that like inspired you to kind of go down that journey in the first place. And you don't even realize it. And it gives you that confidence to be able to start to really, like we've already all been saying, express yourself beyond just one facet of who you are, which would be hair, but other things about yourself, that who you are truly and not who you try to be to impress others.
And you also have the other side of that, don't you? Where you have days where you look at the mirror and like everything works. Like your t-shirt fits well, your jeans look on point, your hair looks good. For me, it's my beard as well. Everything just comes together and you just think, yeah, that is the moment. That's why I decided to grow it.
At what point does that one happen?
I think it's about 2 years for me.
I think I haven't had any. I'm just trying to relate or think back to clothing wise. I feel like I've always really dressed the same, and it's only really my hair length that sort of changed. I don't feel like my presentation in my clothing changed all that much, but definitely the kind of stuff, like I was saying before, in my video work, that's where it really helped me kind of excel. And I sort of grew forward from that point rather than my clothes or anything like that. And I guess the video work is part of how I would present myself, obviously. But yeah, interesting.
Well, we all need self-expression, right?
Yeah, but it comes out in different ways, I think, for everybody. Everybody's got their own individual way of doing it. So that's a cool point.
Yeah, and I would definitely think too that everyone in this chat right now, there's that one thing that you always think about before you step out the door to go on what's you're presenting yourself, that may be the one thing that you're most insecure about, or the thing that you're most like not comfortable with. And like I said, doing something else that makes you uncomfortable helps you become comfortable with those things that you may be insecure about. So that's more, it doesn't have to be style. It can be literally anything, but doing something that makes you uncomfortable. So going through that awkward phase of knowing some days you just do not look good may help you overcome other things, whatever it may be, to make you feel confident in who you are as a person and presenting the most authentic you.
It's super transferable, right? All of these things that we're doing where we're caring less about the way other people see us, and all these things that we're doing where we care a lot less about other people judging us. That's all on this journey to become the more authentic and that little niche version of ourselves that we want to throw out to the world as well.
It's the same sort of trend, just exposing itself in different ways, which is really beautiful. I love that. That's so cool.
And I think as well, when we're talking about insecurities, as you just referenced, Josh, the temptation is you try and hide that insecurity. But I think what growing your hair does is it puts you in an environment where you can't hide that insecurity. And then once you realize that, okay, people aren't really that bothered. I still feel great. I still look great. You start to realize that applies to all the other insecurities that you've got in your life as well. And suddenly your long hair isn't just your long hair. You're having this confidence journey in all other aspects of your life too.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Awesome, cool. So let's now just move on and have a brief chat just around the world's perception of long hair. So I'm going to speak from the UK perspective because that's the perspective that I see every single day. It's mixed, right? Some people are going to look at my hair and think that it's cool. Some people are going to look at my hair and they're going to think fair play to him. You know, he's going for a look that not other people are going for. But working a corporate job in terms of the way that I do, working a corporate job where I have to interact with people that are older, more serious, have these very structured jobs, these very sensible jobs, I get some funny looks all the time. I always feel like I stand out a little bit. And again, we go back to the point about how we like that. But the thing that I always feel is just, I'm a little bit different to other people. You know, in my friendship group, I'm the only one that's got long hair. When I go out, usually just out and about on my day, it might be I see another guy with long hair once, maybe every single month, maybe every couple of months. It's rare. It is super rare. But again, like we've spoken about, like we've all said, love it. I would not change that, and I wouldn't have anything different about the way that, you know, I wouldn't have anything different about that. And I always talk about this on my YouTube channel as well, if anybody's watched some of my content. I talk about how you become a specimen and you start to feel like a specimen. And when I say a specimen, what I really mean is you look at yourself in the mirror, you're feeling it, you're liking it, everything comes together. And then you look at the world's perception of what long hair is, and you realize that's not actually it. That's nothing like it. And then you have that learning that I'm sure everyone on this call's had, and it's probably something that every single person has heard. The way other people perceive your hair, the way other people perceive you, is a reflection of the way that they see the world and not a reflection of the way the world actually is. And once you have that realization, you start to think, I don't fucking care in the slightest what you think about my hair.
Amen.
And then you start seeing all these, then you start seeing guys on TV with long hair, and you start to think, I can connect with that. Like I can resonate with that. I can really, really see that, and I can really, really feel that. And then you go into that territory where it's just, it's powerful. Like it is powerful because then you realize that there are stereotypes about long hair, and you start challenging them. So for me, working in a corporate job, people think he can't do his job. He's terrible at his job. They spend 5-10 minutes with me and they think, actually, he's quite good at his job. And then they just think, well, I was wrong to judge him for like that. I was completely wrong to judge him like that. So I went on for a little bit there. So I'm going to hand that over to, who should I go to first? Travis, how do you feel talking about that?
I have plenty to say.
Just because I can see you on my screen first.
So I live in California, in the United States. I feel like actually there's a lot more people here growing out their hair. I've noticed, like walking around, I'm like, oh, they're growing out their hair. But I think there is still a perception of like people with long hair as being, you know, unkempt or you know, messy or like they're hippies or something like that, especially in California. If we go other places, you see someone long hair, oh, you're from California, you must be a hippie or something, you know, that kind of that kind of perception of people. And while I do think in California it might be a little more lenient because there's a lot more people growing out their hair, I do think that you know, people still view people with long hair as unprofessional. And I've noticed that, especially I went to apply for, well, I was a server somewhere at a restaurant and he didn't like my hair, so it didn't quite work out. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna still grow my hair and I'll find something better. So, and I did. But yeah, I think people just think it looks unprofessional still here.
But you know you can do the job, right?
Oh yeah, totally. It doesn't
exactly
about your job. It doesn't affect you, you know, you're still able to do everything, you know, you have the skills, it's just your hair. And I think it's silly to, you know, view people as unprofessional or, you know, messy if they have long hair.
So we come back to the point that it's the way that they see long hair and not the way long hair actually is. Brian, I can see you nodding as well, just as I said that.
Oh yeah, I just go back to, you know, it boggles my mind that we don't get more respect for it. It's kind of like a bodybuilder. You know, if you see a guy, that's a lot of time, sweat, tears, dedication to not only, you know, work out, and grow your body, grow your muscles. Hell, it's a lot of hellacious dedication, and you got to earn the mane, brother. Believe me, you've got to go through hell and back to earn this mane. You would figure people would look at us and get more respect for it. We went through hell for this damn thing. You know, I think we ought to get more respect for having long hair.
Yeah, awesome. What about you, Scott?
Excuse me. Yeah, I agree. You know, Thomas said a few times the comparison is the thief of joy. I heard him say that a couple of times before it really sunk in. And I thought, you know, I've been on the planet for a while, and the older I get, the less fucks I give about what people think about me. And I thought I was kind of already there until I started growing my hair, and I realized, like, so when I was, you know, when I had the wings and stuff sticking out, and I was like, how do I control this or whatever? And I got my, everybody's gonna love to hear me say this, my wavy metal headbands that I love so much. I got them in the mail, and I didn't wear it to work for about 2 weeks. Like I had to get up the nerve. Like, it's a freaking headband. What? It took me like 2 weeks because I was like, oh, they're gonna point and laugh or something. I wore it to work and nobody cared, right? And then fast forward a couple of months, you know, like I'm giving less fucks as I go along. And one day I had, like, I've got this. So I'm trying, like, when I'm letting my hair air dry, I'm like trying different things to keep it back, you know, to get it dry. And so I'm trying all different things. And one day my wife has these little butterfly clip things. And so I tried those, and I had those in my hair, and I meant to take them out when I got to work, right? When my hair was dry, like, you know, in the car, whatever, but I forgot. So I'm wearing, and I didn't know, I'm wearing them in my hair, and this lady comes into my office and we're talking, you know, whatever. I'm at my desk and we're interacting and stuff, and she leaves, and she gets to the doorway, and she stops and turns around and looks at me and says, by the way, if you need clips in your hair, it's time for a haircut. And I said, no, it's time for you to mind your own business.
What
I don't, you know,
what the hell?
I don't care. I don't care. And I truly don't. And the whole comparison thing, like I used to look at, you know, when I first joined the Man Buns and Manes group, you know, I would look at people who were at the same, you know, same length of time growing, whatever. And I would say, you know, man, their hair's so much better than mine. It's so much longer. And I would feel bad. And then I was like, no, that's not right. Like, my journey is mine, and that's it. Like, nobody else's journey impacts mine. So when I see people who are having, you know, great hair growth and all that kind of stuff, I'm very happy for them. But it doesn't impact my journey at all in any way.
Yeah, I love that. Anything that you want to say, Tom, before we move on?
Yeah, so, well, in terms of perception and whether it matters, I think, unfortunately, somewhere along the line, short hair got favored, and that's where the whole perception of that's better, or you need short hair to be a better male in society or whatever. But really, those perceptions are just, like you said earlier, a reflection of what they've been taught or indoctrinated with. And I think the pandemic, to be honest, has actually really shifted that, because like you were saying with the professional environment, we've all been made to make it work from home, which has opened up a breeding ground for people to try different things at home. And, you know, not being able to go to the barber, grow long hair. And it's organically happening. And then now that people are forced to look at another way of living, it's kind of like, cool, I can have a corporate job, work from home, and have whatever hair I want, and wear my underpants, you know? Like, I think, if anything, the pandemic probably, although there's been, I've got to be careful with what I say here. There's been a lot of bad things come from it, but also a lot of good things in terms of where people's minds are at. We've been forced to look and think differently. So, you know, if anything, I think it's like partially good as well. You know what I mean? Just in terms of shifting perception for people, because we've been forced to look at things in a different way. And long hair, thank God, has been one of those things.
Yeah.
I think the pandemic in hair is going to go, well, it's going two ways at the moment, right? People are either shaving it or people are growing it. We're kind of going back to like almost like the most caveman way of life we can be, where we're either unshaven, full beards, no matter what it is, or we're just shaving because there's not really another option. And my hope is as we move forward, people are going to realize that long hair is actually the way to go. There seems to be this fear that some guys have that the minute their sides stop being faded or the minute their sides stop being like an undercut, everything in life is going to change because it's just not normal for people to do that. And I think that hopefully we're going to see as we come out of the pandemic and hair is longer, people are going to be like, yeah, it works. It's great. It's great. And long haired sides are not really something to be scared of.
No, agreed. As long as, well, I think it's important for short hair to still have its place. I just think the perception on long hair should change. You know what I mean? Like, because you should just be able to choose what you want without the judgment. And that's what I think is more important about not converting every Tom, Dick, and Harry we can into getting long hair. But I think being spokespeople for long hair is a good position to be in. I like
Yeah,
for sure.
I would like to add there that, like, I don't think short hair should go anywhere. I don't think long hair should go anywhere. But there was a point in my office job as I started to grow my hair out where I would walk in and have that fear of, this is going to be the day my manager's going to pull me in and ask me to look more presentable, even though I was keeping my hair very presentable, like slicking it back as it was growing out, trying to make myself, it's like, I don't think you should obviously come in looking like crazy, because I met with customers and people, so I had to be face to face with customers, and obviously the business and my managers wanted me to look a certain way. But I don't think something that naturally is occurring, such as my hair or beard, as long as I keep it kempt or kept together, should be criticized or asked to change because of, so something like Brian was saying, like muscles, no one complains if someone's super muscular or not. But why is it then with my hair that I was afraid that someone was going to be upset that I was growing my hair out? Like that, I think should be normalized. If you want to have short hair, awesome. But if you want to have long hair in the office, there needs to be a normalization of it where there isn't that fear. Because I literally, until COVID, and then I didn't have to worry at all. You know, I mean, like I said, I was in my underwear, whipping my hair around all day at work because I was in my bedroom. But before that, there was a fear of like, this is going to be the day they're going to say like, hey, you at least got to like trim it up. Like it can't be so this, like getting this long. It's like, we didn't hire you to look like this.
Well, long hair, short hair, they're all various forms of self-expression, and self-expression key. The thing is, it's you expressing yourself. You shouldn't be told how you want to do that. It's your decision as to how you choose to express yourself. And long hair, short hair, whichever one it is, it's your call. It's absolutely fine.
Absolutely. You know, what Joshua was saying, I had, after I got out of the military, I had a few civilian jobs that would not allow long hair or beards or any visible tattoos or piercings on men. It's the old school way of thinking. My last job, actually, I had a beard, a short beard. I had a short beard for a number of years, and this is my first time doing a long beard as well. But I had a beard, and I went through a very long interview process for this job that was probably 5 or 6 interviews over the course of about 4 weeks. And when they finally called and offered me the job, at the end of all this, the guy said, yeah, we want to offer you the job, but by the way, how attached are you to your beard? And I literally had to shave off my beard to take the job. And I was at a place in my life where it wasn't really an option for me to say no, thank you. But I had to shave off my beard to go take a job. And like, it's not even, I don't have a job that requires, like sanitary, whatever. I work in an office. So like, why? That's just crazy.
It's just like silly perceptions. Like, just when I hear it, I just go, that's just crazy, because a beard can look professional. Like we can see it right now, like so many guys are being professionals with beards. It's possible. It's not like it's not presentable. It's just an idea that got embedded somewhere. And I'm looking for that person who embedded that idea, because they need an ass kicking, man. Like, it's
karate chop them.
It's just pathetic. Like, as long as you're washing it and it's clean and it, it smells nice or whatever, like, it's technically presentable, because that's how it grows.
And has no impact on whether you can do the job or not, right?
Yeah, at all.
Absolutely no impact at all.
100%.
Yeah, but I got to tell you guys, look, I've listened to this part, and I got to tell you that being on the journey, growing this hair, it actually changed me, because I'm going to tell you something. I was that guy. I am totally guilty of being the asshole that needs his ass kicked for this, because I was construction.
It's you, Brian.
For years. And what's funny is I hired and fired a bunch of guys, and yes, I'm sorry. I would take one look at him with long hair and think, that guy's a friggin' clown. You know what I'm saying? I don't need him on my job. You know what I'm saying? And I'm guilty of doing that. So yes, it's something that you have to kind of experience. You have to grow some hair to kind of appreciate it. Because if you've had short hair all your life, that's all you know, and you become what? Hair racist? I don't know what to call that. It's hard-headed. That's a fact.
It's crazy.
I guess
sorry.
That's that whole idea about how, in order to understand something or understand someone's situation in life, you have to go through it as well, right? So you make a judgment about a guy with long hair, but you don't know what that guy with long hair is actually like until you've had that same experience of growing your hair and stepping out and being a guy with long hair.
Exactly.
I'm just really interested though, Brian. So with that, are you able to look back and understand where maybe that thought came from, or where you picked that up, or how you were indoctrinated? Where does that come from? That's what
it's exactly what Scotty says. You know, you have a certain upbringing. You know, you kept your hair short. You went in the military, kept your hair short. That's your perception of neat and clean and professional. But over this last, 14 months, you know, I've come to learn, look, dude, you can have long hair and look completely professional. You can look really, really good with long hair. It's just something that is ingrained inside of you. You know, I hate to use racism as the word, but that's exactly the kind of mentality that you have going inside of your brain, that, you know, you take one look at somebody with long hair and go, you know, he's a hippie, or he's a bozo, or, you know what I'm saying? That's the kind of mentality you have without even talking to the person. You know, you don't know anything about him. You just one look and your perception is flipped the switch, and it's negative. I'm sorry. It's just, I'm being honest. I'm just telling you reality.
No, it's good. It's good to understand that that's what a lot of people have. A lot of these people that judge us for the long hair, that's what's going on for them. They're not actually bad people. It's just a perception thing. And it's doing stuff like this, which is really shining a light on that and going, hey, we're actually freaking normal.
Right.
You know? Like,
I would even say that it just comes from societal norms that exist, where you look at what the presentation of a man is when you see an advertisement for someone who's dressed in formal wear or anything like that. They usually have short hair. Maybe they're like holding some glasses or something. You know, I mean, they got this presentation that kind of is from the age of a child, because I'm over in the United States as well. It's kind of reinforced that, like, this is what a presentable man looks like. And then even when you think to movies or TV shows, or the way certain things, like long hair is accepted in certain circles where it's okay. So like, even think about a lot of the men who you see are inspirations for long hair. It's like superheroes, you know, or like bad guys that had really cool long, like they're really strange things that aren't normalized. And it's like accepted, similar to tattoos. There's certain things where it's like accepted only because it's created in this one image. But for the normal office worker image, that image is someone in a really nice suit. And this is starting to change, you know, with people getting rid of the tie and things like that. So you're starting to see it somewhat normalized. But if you look back at the last few decades of, like I said, the way just media has kind of portrayed the male figure, it's always been clean. Even if it's a shave, it's maybe some stubble. And so that's where I think you just kind of continue to see that, and it's impressed on you, even when you don't realize that it's being impressed on you. So then when you go for your first office job, when you're straight out of university, you're thinking, okay, if I want to get this job, I'm in a place where like, I can't say no. I'll shave the beard, I'll cut the hair, like I'll play the part.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
Josh, I'm sorry.
No, you go first, Scott. You go first.
I was just going to say, so it's kind of interesting as we were preparing for this, I was thinking, you know, like, what does this mean? And, you know, long hair is still kind of new to me, and I'm just sort of rolling things around in my head. And I was looking at some movie, like top 10 or top 20 movie things, whatever. And I looked back to the 1990s at the top 20 movies, the top, you know, blockbuster, top selling movies. And I was looking through it. I was like, okay, which one of these movies had characters with long hair? Because like now, right, everything on Netflix has guys with long hair in it. So I'm like kind of curious. And I went back and I looked and I compared the 2010s versus the 1990s. And this is not scientific. This is just my own research. And in the 2010s, there were 7 movies in the top 20 that had guys with long hair. In the 1990s, there were only 2. Sort of. One of them was the animated movie Aladdin, and his hair wasn't even that long. I think my hair is longer than Aladdin's was. And the other one, you're gonna love this. The other one, the only other top movie in the 1990s that had a guy with long hair was Forrest Gump, and the way that his long hair was portrayed was kind of negative, right? It was like ratty, whatever. And
Lieutenant Dan. Yeah,
when he rejoined society, he cut it off. So the perception
and he was crazy.
changed.
Yep.
Yeah, he was like
he was a crazy guy on a boat catching shrimp, and then once he like went on, he normalized himself again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
He cut his hair. So the perception, I think, is changing over time, but still not there.
Yeah, no, awesome. And Scott, that's the most thorough research I think I've possibly ever heard anybody come on a Zoom call, which is super awesome. So I am conscious of time. I'm conscious that probably a lot of people on this call have got some questions. So what I'll say, if you've got a question that you want to ask, just raise your hand and we'll do this as a Q&A. So who wants to be first to raise their hand?
Bloody hell, we've been in here an hour.
I know, time has literally flown.
It seems like 10 minutes.
Leanne, I'll go to you first.
Hello. Yeah, obviously, just in case it's a shock to anybody, I'm not a boy, I'm a girl. But I like this group because I first started watching Thomas's videos and I thought, he mentioned his group on Facebook and I thought, I'll ask. The worst they can do is say, no, you're a girl, you can't come in. But that didn't happen, which is good. Also, I should probably apologise for my accent because I'm Welsh. So if you don't understand me, that's fine.
Don't apologise.
My question's for Thomas. Would there be any interest in designing your own hair accessories? And the only reason I ask is because I know a lot of guys in the group, when they are going through the awkward stage, they want headbands and stuff. And I know they end up buying a lot of products that are targeted to women and they might feel uncomfortable about wearing something that's designed for a girl. So would there be any sort of opportunity to design something that is aimed at the men in your group so they feel more comfortable wearing them?
Do you know what, Leanne? That is such a good point. And I would love to create something like that and create a line of hair accessories or even a hair product at some point. The research that I've done into it though, like there is so much involved with just bringing out the product. You've got to get your packaging right. You've got to get the shipping. And not only that, we've got to remember it's worldwide as well. So it's on the list of things that I really want to bring into fruition. It's just a matter of time. So there is interest in that, to answer the question in short. It's just once I've had a look at things, I've gone, holy hell, I'm going to need a whole batch of time put aside for this to really bring something to life. So when the time is right, it will happen.
Okay.
And thank you so much for being part of the group and staying on this call. Like, it's amazing to have women in here as well. It's awesome.
That's okay. I like the group because they accept me as a girl. Nobody's ever said anything bad, which is good. So, but I guess there's probably financial implications of designing something as well. But maybe we could have like a Kickstarter and everybody chip in if they wanted to.
Well, when I get further down the line with it, I'll touch base with you and we can maybe chat about how we can do that. I'm sure we'd love to, the mods and I've got a pulse on them. Well, not a pulse on them. I'm checking in with them about what I'm coming up with ideas wise, and we're all talking about it together. So when we finally get ready to make some moves, I'll let you know and we can maybe include you in on that chat.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks so much for bringing that up
Awesome.
though.
Thank you.
Leanne, that's a great point. I've probably sold hundreds of sets of wavy metal headbands on Amazon.
I know, we need to get the wavy metal headband.
Oh, yeah.
We need that.
Thank you.
Joey,
We love
over to you.
You did good with we love that red mane.
Can you hear me?
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Who we got? Joey.
Got
Hello.
So-
Joey.
Hello, first of all, I'm really happy to be with you guys. This is really an honor to me to be with Thomas, to be with Alex, and all of you guys. There is one issue that I'm having right now with my long hair. So as you know, when you grow out your hair, you grow out such an emotional connection to it. And then you start getting really scared for that day that will come that you'll have to cut it. And I've been balding since like 3 years till now. Now I'm kind of hiding my bald spots, but how do you psychologically deal with the fact that you're gonna get bald at some point, and you're gonna have to take out that hair from your head at some point.
Okay. Well, I have an answer for this, so it's a bit long-winded.
I've got an answer as well, but you jump first.
Oh, no, you go first, Alex. I just spent time talking before, so you go for it.
Yeah. So I worry about the same day coming because I think it's probably going to be inevitable. I mean, I'm 31 now, right? So eventually I'm probably going to have something like that happen. But I suppose what I would look at it in terms of earlier when we spoke about the long hair and the journey that comes with that, I think stepping away from long hair and going to being bald, short, no matter what it is, that in itself will be a journey in the same way. And I think it's going to be super exciting to think about what you learn from the other side as well. And something that's important to me about being a guy with long hair is that I feel really fucking masculine at points when I've got long hair. Like there's just something about having long hair, facial hair, that's just a super masculine look to me, and I like that. But that's an outlook. That's not actually a reality. That's just how I choose to see myself when I see myself with long hair. That's just how I choose to feel when I see myself with long hair. And I think the journey to being bald, or like we say, short hair, is going to be about how do you feel at that moment in time? How do you make yourself feel at that moment in time? And it's not going to be about the way it actually looks. It's going to be about how you actually feel. So when you say then that you had a little bit of an emotional connection to your hair, I'd say that it's probably more of an emotional connection to how you feel with your hair rather than the actual hair itself.
Good answer.
That's a great answer. Yeah, that is a good answer, isn't it?
And
Mine,
hey,
oh, so you go, Scotty.
Oh, I just wanted to say, so as a guy who's a bit older, going bald is not a foregone conclusion. I mean, I guess based on your genetics and all that, it could be possibly, but my hair is different for sure than when I was younger. The only time that I ever got close to long hair before now was about 20 years ago. I had a bet with a friend. We were having some beers and whatever, and it was to see who could grow their hair the longest. And I lost the bet. I made it to 3 months, and I couldn't stand it because my hair just got bigger and bigger and bigger. My hair was definitely much thicker and much more dense back then. It's different now, and it was a bitter pill for me to swallow a little bit. I'm not bald. I don't have a bald spot or anything. And I think, probably at this age, if I haven't gone bald yet, I'm not going to. It's going to change over time for sure. That doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to go bald. So I say rock what you got.
Yeah, for sure.
Make
For
the
sure.
most
And
of it.
I don't think there's anything worse than fighting it. I think you've got to just accept that that's the way it's going to be. And I think the thing that you realize when you accept something, it's always a million times better than you think it's going to be as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the other side of that as well. So, Joey, do you know if you're going bald from pattern baldness, or if it's just getting thinner because of age, like what Scott was saying? Do you know what that is?
So genetically speaking, my whole family got bald at a very young age, and it's been weak from here, from the back of my head, and it's not evolving from the front. But so far it's manageable.
I'm not I'll share something I haven't even shared on YouTube before. I actually was going to wait a little bit until I announced any of this, but I went to the dermatologist not long ago because I had really bad flaking on my scalp, and I got him to have a look at it. And turns out I have dermatitis on my scalp from time to time when I get stressed, but he also identified miniaturization of the hair follicle, which is what you're talking about. It's the very beginning of male pattern baldness. So over time, as the follicles get smaller, that's when we start seeing that thinning. And what's happened is mine has begun. And lucky I went and saw him at the time that I did, because he then recommended minoxidil. So minoxidil is designed to reverse that process. So you can actually, there's things out there that you can use to prevent any further balding, but you do have to go and see a professional about it and really get their advice before you try anything. So I went to the dermatologist first. He identified it. He then went, okay, minoxidil is going to be the best thing. And then from there, I actually went to Ashley Martin. And I actually, while we were just talking about this, I put out my little product bag. This is my minoxidil that they gave me, right? So now I can apply a topical solution to reverse any of the first early signs that I've got. And now for me is the best time to start doing that, because it's going to give me a lot longer before my hair gets thinner or or stops growing altogether. So I had to do a lot of research, and I had to go and talk to a few different doctors and different people. But I've got a solution now that could work and help me prevent that from happening at all. So I might not have to deal with it. But the downside of those things is when you use them. So that solution, I'd have to use it forever now if I don't want pattern baldness to get further down the track. So yeah, that's something I haven't shared before because I was a little bit self-conscious about it. But now we're here, I may as well air my laundry.
Yeah, for sure. Mario,
I hope that
think
helps.
you had your hand up next.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's nice to be here. Especially hi to Thomas. I known him for
Mario.
a little bit. Hey, how's it going?
Good.
I don't really have a question, but I just wanted to get on a topic as far as normalizing long hair and my opinion on it. And it'll be really short. I'm actually kind of against that because I don't like being normal. I don't like being like every other guy on the block. When I walk into a room, I want to stand out. And the downsides of that is, first off is jobs. Can you get a job with long hair or a beard? It's going to be an issue in some parts. That's probably the worst con about it. But on the second thing about being different, either if you have tattoos, you're like a goth person, just any type of, if you just look different from society, dude, expect, judgment on you. It's just going to be a normal thing. If you stick out from the crowd, you're going to be judged. And it's not that that's a wrong thing. It's normal. You stick out. When you walk in the room with long hair, everyone's going to look at you. So that's my thing I wanted to share. And about all the guys that are growing out the hair, bro, it's cool being different. When you get judged,
sure.
Awesome. So
that's a good perception as well. Love that.
That's just my 2 cents on that, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, if anyone didn't know, Mario is the owner of Long Haired Gentleman on Instagram. It's only like the biggest Instagram page for men's long hair. Like, this is the guy. It's him. This is Mario. Your hair looks amazing today as well, man.
Yeah, that's a beautiful mane, brother.
Oh yeah.
Thank you guys.
Awesome. We will go to Emiliano next.
Emiliano. Oh, connecting to audio. Hang on. It's got the 3 wobbly dots going. Connecting.
Should we go to Pranav and then come back to Emiliano then?
We can't hear you, Emiliano. We'll just wait a minute. Sorry.
Hello.
Hello, Pranav.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. So, my question is for Thomas. So, we were talking about how we all have an emotional connection with our hair. So, I wanted to know how it was for you to take the decision to cut your hair. Like, what did you feel like?
It was traumatic. No, it actually, I'm just kidding. It wasn't traumatic. It was, it took a long time before I actually went through with it. And before I dropped that shocking video, I kind of premeditated for a long time. I was kind of like, oh, is this the right thing to do? And I busy my schedule up so much that I'm just like, next thing. And it got to a point where I was so like unhappy with creating content like a mill. And the emotional, how do you call it? The negative emotions tied to that busyness was heavier than what it was going to take to chop my hair off. So, and as a result, I'm kind of glad that I went and did it now, because it's actually given me a bit of a break, and it's made me fall back in love with the whole process and put way more energy back into what we've built and created here. So in the short answer is, yeah, it was a bit of an emotional thing on both sides, like just because I loved the long hair in the beginning and also just how I was feeling in my life. But as a result, it's been a good thing, actually. It's been all for the better.
Awesome. So, like, does it have to do anything with the kind of determination you have to go back again? Like, is it more right now, or how is it like?
I'm not. I think I've just got a new goal in mind. I'm not really any more determined than before. Like, I've already been through the stages of getting it really long before. Like, it's not a new challenge for me, if you know what I mean. I'm just thinking now, it's made me focus more on the group how we can make this better. Like doing collaborations like this type of stuff wouldn't have happened if I was still being a content mill and making videos every single week. Like it's just redirected all my attention into, right, what have we got here and how are we going to make that ace and how are we going to make that better? And this I think is the next step. And like Leanne was saying before, you know, product ranges, like that's what I want to focus on.
Okay,
Not making content not making content all day long, you know? Sorry, I babble on.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. That's it. Bye.
Love you, bro.
Has Emiliano got
Yeah, I was going to say, Ramiro, have we got audio?
I am bloody thirsty. Oh my gosh.
Oh, here we go.
I need a
Can you
beer.
hear me now?
Yep.
Emiliano.
Hey, hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? We finally got some audio.
Good deal. So first of all, I want to thank all of you for what you're doing as we're going through this process of growing out our hair and what to expect as we're going forward, especially that awkward stage and you don't know what to do with the sides and you slick them back. So you kind of prepared us for that. And it's a long journey, so hang in there. But there's one topic that we haven't spoken about, which caught me by surprise. And it's a little bit taboo, but the matter of sex and long hair, it's like, oi, it's everywhere. It's in my face and in their face, and it's like, holy crap. So even before you get started, it's like, okay, we're almost there. Give me a second, hold on. So you have to start tying it back, and it's like, okay, ready to go. But it's one of those things that if you always had short hair and you never think about it, when you get to that point of long hair and you're about to get started, it's a nightmare and it gets tangled and you got to move it out of the way and try to flick it back behind the ears. And it's like, you know what, just give me 1 second, I'm going to tie it up and let's go.
The solution's simple. Just wear a swimming cap before you have sex.
Yeah, that's too sexy. Yeah.
That'll look pretty hot.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
It's washable.
Tom, I hope the mom with 3 kids has logged out by now.
Oh yeah, same.
But great job. I really appreciate everything.
I'm just trying to. I don't really have anything to add to that because I don't remember having sex at all when I was like growing my hair out the first time. So it's never been a problem that's come up for me. But anybody else, if you got anything to add, like I'll just zip my mouth. And thanks for bringing it up though, Amelia. It's good to have different talking points.
Yeah, we should probably mention this is being recorded before you respond.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Keep it clean.
Yeah. I would just say, just wear one of them on your hand. When it comes to business, just flip it in, you'll be all good. You'll be more than all good.
When we said it's a journey, we meant everything was a journey.
Everything's a journey. Literally everything's a journey.
I mean, now I keep a clip in my pocket so that I'm just back and But yeah, keep it handy. That's a good one, right down the wrist.
If you know there's a chance that it's going to happen, just make sure you're wearing one of them on your wrist, and you'll be all good.
Yeah,
you'll be all good.
I always got 2. I got 2 going on at all times.
You got 2.
Just in case it gets really
now
wild.
I know. See, after a year, when it became an issue, it's like, holy crap, I need something to tie it. But, you know, if I knew beforehand, I would have been prepared. And like you said, the band thing is a good idea. I like that.
Yeah. It's satisfying as well, isn't it, to know your hair's now long enough that it makes having sex harder.
Amen.
Amen. Chris, I think you're the last person with their hand up.
Christopher's hair's amazing. Look at that. Oh, we
have one.
Chris, you're muted.
Yeah, we have one too that he can't raise his hand.
You hear me?
So
yeah, that's all good.
There we go.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Hello. Hi Alex. Hi Thomas. I just want to say big fan of your channel, both of your channels, Alex and Thomas. Obviously, I've seen a lot of your content and whatnot. I missed the beginning because I was having microphone issues and whatnot, so I don't know if I got spoken, and it's kind of a weird off-topic thing. Does it? And this is kind of a question for any of you guys. Do any of you guys use like a shower cap or anything? And I ask this because I hate having like wet hair when I get out of the shower and I'm like running around running errands. It drives me nuts. Like it gets all tangled and all over the place. Is that normal for you guys, or?
Yeah, if you don't want to have wet hair, I would definitely wear a shower cap because the humidity or the water getting on your hair, well, for me anyway, it would make my hair like super frizzy. So if I wanted to keep it all nice and intact, I would definitely wear a shower cap. But I, at the same time, don't really mind having wet hair. I don't know, like,
yeah,
it never really occurred to me. Like, it wasn't that big of a problem. But yeah, wearing a shower cap, totally normal.
Yeah.
I'll pitch in because I've actually talked about this on quite a few of my videos, especially when I was doing the growing out process. I was like you, as it got longer, I hated having wet hair, especially because the way my schedule worked, I didn't have much time to get to the office and I'd always end up showing up with wet hair. So I started actually doing, especially in the short phase, I would tie up with 2 hair ties. So I'd tie up high and then tie up low. And then just try my best to avoid having the bun hit the water. Because sometimes, especially when you're first getting used to it, you'll like get out of the shower and then realize your bun was actually sitting in the water the entire time. But I found that was a good way if you don't want to do the shower cap route, was until you can tie your hair up in just one high bun, maybe do one higher bun that's small and then one lower bun. I do that actually I did that for most things. So exercising, anything where I wanted my hair out of my face, and a hat may not work or something like that. So that is also an option because like you, I didn't like getting my hair wet every single day.
Yeah.
What I started doing was having baths instead of showers as well.
Yeah.
That then obviously means that your hair doesn't have to go anywhere near the water. I don't know if that's possible for you, and I don't particularly think you want me to ask whether that is possible for you, but that is definitely an option.
Yeah.
Tried the Josh.
Just listen to your hair though, because like you do need to add moisture every now and again. You do need to wet it every so often to keep it moisturized. So just listen to it. If it gets dry, you're probably gonna have to wet it and run the errands at least once a week or something, depending on how dry it gets. But other than that, a shower cap is totally cool. Sorry, I just repeated myself.
Cool.
Ryan, were you gonna say something?
Yes, I was gonna say, with the water thing that you just mentioned, does product or leave-in, does that count as your moisture? Instead of water, can you use leave-in or a curling cream? Does that count? Or does it have to be H2O?
Well, you wouldn't use those products unless like you had damp hair already. Like you're meant to apply it when you have damp hair. So it's kind of like
you can. No, go Tom.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm just saying like it just, they go together. So you have to have damp hair anyway before you apply those things. So it's like hand in hand.
Well,
yeah, I was like thinking out loud there.
So hi guys. Did I interrupt someone?
Here?
No, that's all good.
I couldn't raise my hand because I don't know, something is wrong with my Zoom, and then one of the admins unmuted me and I kind of like tried to, that's why probably everyone is like, where does this guy come from? So rude.
Yeah, who is that? How do I say your name?
So my name is Cenk. Sorry to interrupt like that, but I really just did not have the option to raise my hand. I promise I'm not a rude person. I just kind of like really had to slide in, to the chat. First of all, thank you for having me here. It's a really nice moment to actually be able to talk to all of you instead of just sharing pictures and commenting, so I'm very excited. I had another question which was kind of like maybe connected to what Emiliano asked, but not about the sex itself, but more about like, I'm just curious about your experience in dating life after you started growing out your hair, like no matter your orientation, because I feel like, so having had long hair in the past, growing out this Viking part and now growing out all of it, my biggest issue since always has been literally like dating life, for a very simple reason that especially romantic partners, once you get involved with them longer, they kind of like feel entitled to being able to tell you how they expect of you to look like. And it just always pisses me off because it's like, so I just wanted to hear y'all's experiences about that.
The same. We understand. We understand totally what you're going through. For me, I'm lucky. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interject. But with my experience so far, this actually helped me at my age, 52 years old, with long hair. Somehow it has brought out all the women in the woodwork. They look at it like I have more virility because I have long hair. Now with the beard, that's a little different now. This thing gets in the way quite a bit. But for me, it's actually helped. But with the long hair, I'm with you. I do not like when you've been with a partner for a little bit and all of a sudden they feel entitled that they have an opinion or a say of what you should be looking like. I don't agree with that. I don't like that at all. So I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is my field now, right? So I've definitely got some opinions on that. So I think long hair and dating is fascinating, and I've got countless videos on YouTube on this as well. So this is something that I can definitely speak about. But I think the way that I would look at it is anything that you do or anything in terms of the way that you look is something that people will have as a measure of judging you, or is something that people will have as a measure of making their own perception about you. Fine, right? The problem comes when that's your partner, or the problem comes when that's someone that's known you looking a certain way for a while. But the question that you really have to think of is, first of all, why do they have a problem with you changing something about the way that they look? And I think whenever you talk about relationship dynamics, you'll often get, I suppose you often get into a routine. You get used to seeing people in a certain way. You get used to judging people in a certain way. You get used to your partner, or you seeing your partner in a certain way. And I think what tends to happen is people have a little bit of a surprise where they have to get used to their partner looking different. But when that comes, it is literally just a matter of keeping going. It's not a matter of changing or saying that I'm going to go back to the way that I was because you don't like it. There's an element of them supporting you in terms of the way that you want to look. And as long as it's not a double standard, so as long as you're okay with your partner doing the same thing, that's absolutely fine. And the relationship should never be something that forces either one of you to stop doing what you want to do. Or a relationship should never be something that stops people looking the way that they want to look. It is completely up to those persons. You're still two separate people, and you're still two separate people in a relationship as well. And then in terms of, if you're looking at it from the perspective of you're single and you're looking to date or you're looking to meet people, you want to bring the women around, as you just said, Brian, I think the long hair is a great filtering process. If people don't like that, they're probably not going to be a good match for you. You know, I said at the start with me, I've got long hair, I've got my nose pierced, I've got tattoos. Some of those will polarize people. Some people won't like any of them. Some people won't like one of them. Some people won't like two of them. But if someone doesn't like tattoos, they're not going to be a good match for me. If someone doesn't like long hair, they're not going to be a good match for me. If someone can't stand the fact that I've got my nose pierced, so what? They're not a good match for me. So it's important to remember whenever you're doing anything in life, and we're talking about hair growth here, all that matters is you stay true to the core of who you want to be, and you stay true to the core of how you want to project yourself being. And if people don't like that, that's their choice. But a relationship should not stop you trying to be anything else.
Damn good job. Well said.
I'd like to add to that too, because being married, there's a whole nother aspect to the worry of a significant other maybe accepting a change that you want to make. And if you're in a place in your relationship where the significant other feels that they can interject about maybe a life choice or a style choice you've made, you're most likely also in a place where you can openly communicate with each other and have that discussion, like Alex was saying, about how you still are two separate people, and there may be something you want to try out, and there's that give and take of both of you. Like, so for myself with my wife, we always have the discussion of like, there's nothing I would never tell her she cannot do. Whatever she wants to do, I'm 100% on board, because I would not want the same thing to happen to me. But we've had those discussions of how do we honestly treat each other as people, because we are not this like synonymous thing where it's like every decision I make, directly affects you. You know, there's still things that I want to experience as myself, as a person. And I know that's the same for her. And so my biggest suggestion would be have that discussion with your significant other and tell them why maybe you want to make this choice to do long hair specifically, and then really have that discussion and help them understand, and then hope too that they're willing to understand. And I mean, I don't know, I don't want to give advice beyond that, but just be willing to communicate and be open and help them kind of maybe see where you're coming from. And like Alex said, be accepting to also let them do change. So
yeah, I think the temptation with any relationship is that identity from one or both sides gets compromised, because this is a point where two people are having to blend and two people are having to come together. But just because you're in a relationship, that doesn't mean that your identity becomes any less important, and it doesn't mean that their identity becomes any less important. It should be about the two people supporting each other in projecting themselves and becoming the best version of the way that they want to be. And I think just to touch on what you just said, Josh said, and kind of expand on it a little bit, the temptation in a relationship when two people don't get on is entitlement. So if someone says to you, well, your partner says, why do you want to grow your hair? I don't like it. There's a space where you can have an open conversation, as you just said, Josh, or you'll see what you see everywhere online, where you'll get that whole, fuck her, she's no good for you, get rid of her, she's got to love you the way that you are, argument. And there's truth in both of those, but it's about how you communicate and manage that situation so it doesn't become the second option, and it actually just becomes the two of you having an open, honest conversation about it.
So I really agree with everything that you guys said, because so with my first boyfriend, he was actually the reason why I had like a long hair until here. He cut it. He literally manipulated me. He was a hairdresser into thinking that I was balding. He put so many anxieties in my head. He gaslit me, and then I was just like, oh my God, I have to definitely cut my hair. So then I learned about how people can manipulate and trick you into cutting your hair. And then with my last partner, actually, like he would never let me have like a fully long hair or a beard. And I think like I've been single for a week, and one of also like the biggest reasons as to why I decided to be single was just simply because I got fed up of like partners telling me, oh, don't do this, or don't grow your beard, or don't grow your hair. And I think like right now, having to grow the undercut again, it does feel a little bit like liberating from, okay, nobody would ever like stand between me and what I want to do with my look. And I think having this already long is an advantage, because if I would ever meet anybody else, I would just be like, this is who I am, and I don't think there is any say in that. But anyway, I think I'm just gonna mute myself. So thanks again, guys. It was really nice.
No, perfectly said.
That was a pleasure.
And yeah,
Thanks for bringing that up, Cenk. That was good.
So I think we're going to have to wrap it up there. I'm conscious of the fact that we've gone 45 minutes over what we planned. So if I can just go to all the mods, just to say, well, first of all, any closing thoughts, any closing messages, and if you just want to let people know where they can find you if they've got a further question as well. I'll go to you first, Brian, because I can see you nodding, and I like that.
Oh yeah, please, guys. I love each and every one of y'all. Y'all know that. You know, if you have any questions, as you can see, this panel or the mods, some of the people in the group, we're all here to help each other achieve this task of growing long hair together. Please ask each and anyone that you choose. Please know that I enjoyed this immensely. Can't wait for the next one. Thank you, man. You did a great job, brother.
Awesome. Josh?
Yeah, so first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for joining this, and thank you, Alex, for putting it on. Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you for the questions. They were really great. Great topic to talk on. Also want to shout out the Man Buns and Manes group, and the fact that do not be afraid to ask these questions in there, and find someone and find this group, which would be that someone who's willing to really take you and lift you up and make you feel good and confident about yourself. You should never be in a toxic relationship or things where you really feel down and do things that you shouldn't. So Man Buns and Manes, don't be afraid to ask these serious, deep questions, because there are people in there that care about you and want to answer them and help lift you up. For myself, you can just look up Joshua Hubbard on Instagram and YouTube, find me there, talk about hair and some other things as well.
Awesome. Scott?
Hey, you can tell by my lighting that I'm not really big on, on social media content, but you can find me in the Man Buns and Manes group. I do have an Instagram at Scooter NSC. I don't Instagram much though, and I just want to say one thing since joining the group that sort of stands out to me that I want to share with everybody is that we all want to have long hair. That's why we're here, right? We're part of this conversation because we want to have long hair. And whenever you face challenges in your journey, cutting your hair is not the answer. I mean, if you get to the end of your journey and that's what you want to do, that's fine. But a lot of people feel like, my hair is thinning or my hair is too poofy or it's too dry. I'm going to cut it off. And that's not the solution. That math doesn't add up, So if you have challenges along the way, reach out to somebody in the group or other resources to find a solution that will help you get to your goal. But chopping your hair off is not the solution that will get you to the long hair that you want.
Amen.
Awesome. Travis?
Oh, thank you, Alex, for hosting this. I am so happy to be a part of these discussions and things. I'm so proud of all the members that we have and all the people here, keep growing your hair. And Tom, thank you for starting in the group. I mean, I honestly, I'm just so excited to be here, and I just love every part of this, all the discussions, all the talks about hair and what it means to us. And if anyone has any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me on our Facebook group or my Instagram. It's Travi the Windwalker. I had a lot of fun today, and I just love all you guys.
And Travis knows everything about
Love you, Trav. He's good. He is.
Tom?
Oh, my turn. So I am so bloody stoked that we've still got 30 people on the line. It's so awesome that we've been able to come together and do this kind of thing. I feel blessed to be here as well. And I just want to say thanks to the mods, every participant, Alex, Joshua, having chats like this. I would love to do more of this in future because this is the shit that I think is really meaningful. Creating YouTube videos is something that I love doing, but this kind of stuff is the real intimate, the real results of what we're doing here. So I'm really happy that all of you turned up, and I will spend 2-3 hours, however many hours on a call like this over doing a YouTube video any day. So thanks again. Love you all.
Awesome. Cool. So it's just my turn to wrap up then. So I think my takeaway from this has really been, I find it quite motivational, not because I feel like I need motivation with my hair growth, but when you get 30 plus people that come together with a similar path, when you get 30 plus people that come together with similar thought process, similar experiences of life, and we've gone pretty deep, right? We started off with just general experiences, and then we got into relationships. It hasn't literally just been hair. It's been all aspects of life. And I think what the super, super, super powerful thing to remember with all of this, and I say this on my videos all the time, we're all fucking awesome, right? Every single one of us is fucking awesome. We're all absolutely great, and we're all literally smashing life with every single thing that we do. And I think the motivation comes in life when you see yourself in the mirror and you realize that. The motivation comes in life when you get that little challenge. Maybe it's to cut your hair, maybe it's something way deeper. But the point is, we're all fucking awesome. We're all fucking unbelievable. And it has been great to have everybody on the call. In terms of where to find me, Instagram at Alex Orlando Cross, YouTube, Alex Orlando Dating and Authenticity Coach. I hope to see some of you guys there.